One of the things you notice at a newspaper is just the prevalence of drug crime. It's not something that makes it into the paper every day just because it is so common. So we sent ELISE KAPLAN, Matthew REISEN, Katie Barnett, and Roberto Rosales, and they hit the streets and took note of anything in the city drug-related.
So Roberto and I went to the southeast. We went to a needle exchange kind of south of Central, this little van that they pull up on the side of the sidewalk, and a bunch of people come and they exchange needles. They turn in their dirty needles. They get a clean box of needles. They get all sorts of tourniquets. They can get kind of any supplies they want. And they can also see a provider about getting some medical advice, getting some like housing options, that kind of thing. So we went there and we talked to people who are actively using drugs right now and kind of about how they started using drugs, what their life stories were a little bit just leading up to that point, and heard some really, really heartbreaking stories. So we also went to the Metropolitan Detention Center. It was a Monday morning, and we went and saw the detox unit. That's where all the inmates are held when they're trying to detox from whatever they come in on. Anyone who admits to being on drugs, when they come into MDC, they get put in this unit. It's a very grim place. There's rows and rows of beds, and people are huddled under blankets. They have towels over their heads. They're trying to come down from their symptoms. They're often feeling really sick and really just need some extra attention from the guards, who can then watch them and make sure they have the medication they need while they're going through that process.
Roberto and I went first to the Resource Reentry Center, which is a facility downtown where people who've just been released from the jail are taken before they're fully released. It's a place that offers some snacks. It can be a place to stay the night, a place to charge phones, just kind of all of those little things that you might need before full freedom. And it's also a place where caseworkers try to set people up with services that could be of help to them now that they're out of custody. They also distribute Narcan and show short training videos to people who may want or need Narcan now that they're out of custody. We also went to Metropolitan Assessment Treatment Services, which is over on Zuni, and it's a place where people can come to detox from a substance, and that is where we met Giovanni Nieto. He is 22, he grew up in the South Valley and in Los Lunas, and he had just checked himself into a detox program there, trying to quit his fentanyl use, which he had been using and selling for some time. He also told us about his childhood. He grew up kind of checking under doors to make sure that his mom was still alive, calling the ambulance, and then 3 days after his 10th birthday, his mom overdosed and died, and not long after that, his aunt, Julie Nieto, was found dead on the West Mesa with 10 other women.
Roberto and I went to the South Valley. We met with Deputy Apodaca. He's a lead certified deputy with the sheriff's office, and he took us on a ride along, and we went to these abandoned buildings where people often break into and are found using narcotics, using it as their homes in a sense. A lot of needles strewn about. It wasn't about slapping the cuffs on. It was more about this is a problem that comes from within and can't necessarily be fought completely from the outside. Behind every addiction, there's a story, and that there's a person, and you can't put a number on it. Overdoses, arrests, it's not about the big picture, it's the small picture, and people need to want to help themselves, and they also need to not be stereotyped and stigmatized. I hope that people get awareness of the problem, but I hope that people also gain some compassion for the people who are suffering on a daily basis with it.